Hey everyone, and welcome back. On Instagram and YouTube, I asked you guys what things you wanted to learn about me. What questions did you have for me? And you guys came out blazing. I was amazed the amount of questions that came about from that. And so I want to answer those. However, I didn't want to be a talking head through that whole time, so I thought that I would do that in a video showcasing one of the most amazing miniature golf courses that we have ever played when we were in Tahoe. It was such fun. So many really cool, just what do you call those, holes, I guess, that just had really neat intention behind it. And so I thought that would be way more fun watching us kind of maneuver through this golf course as I was answering your questions, rather than, like I said, just being a talking head in front of you guys. If you are new here, my name is Melissa Hunegart, and I show all things cooking, cleaning, organizing, and decorating, basically all things homemaking, and I would love it if you would pause this video and subscribe to our growing community, and if you're returning, it is so great to see you. Alright, so the first question is, how do you like to spend your me time? So, me time is really hard for me. I tend to have a hard time sitting down and being still, but I would say probably if I had to pinpoint one thing, it would be, this sounds super silly because it doesn't really sound like resting, but to me it is, and that would be just kind of planning my next project. You know, what do I want that to look like? When do I want that to be? How long do I want it to take? Getting different types of inspiration from like Pinterest or sometimes Instagram, just different things like that. And just kind of sitting and brainstorming and just kind of getting all of that into paper. Because for me, I tend to have a lot of things in my mind at one time, and so for me, getting that out and onto paper helps me enjoy my me time so much more. So that's probably how I would answer that question. Next is, do you prioritize girl time with your friends? In your experience, is it important? I totally think that it's important. I probably don't do the best job at that. I kind of tend to be a nose to the grindstone type of mentality, and so I like to get things checked off and know that things are accomplished. And so, you know, kind of like my previous question, it's harder for me to stop and take time to do things for myself. I have a couple friends that kind of force me to do that, I guess for lack of a better term. And so that is great. I would say because of the season of life that my friends and I are currently in, some work outside of the home, some work outside of the home, yet they're inside of the home. If we do me time, a lot of times, really most of the time I guess, is over coffee after like drop off or something like that. In an ideal world, I would love to just schedule something like, you know, once a month, twice a month, and have it on the calendar. I find that for me, if I want it bad enough in my routine and in my schedule, I'm much more likely to accomplish it and to make time for it if I can put it on a calendar. For me, last minute, spur of the moment kinds of things, I don't enjoy those quite as much because I am somebody that kind of plans out my day prior to, And so a lot of times if it's like, hey, do you want to go do this? It's like, oh, yes, I do. However, I had these things that I wanted to do, and yes, you're more important than that, but then it just kind of causes, like a little upset in the schedule, and that's okay. It's just, for my mindset, it's not my favorite. So I think definitely I need to be more intentional and kind of take that step in saying, hey, why don't we schedule something every other week, whether that is coffee, whether that's dinner, whether that's dessert, after supper and kids are kind of doing their thing. I think that would probably be better all around for everyone involved. Do you ever take a day to be lazy? Of course, everybody just has those days where they just feel like, yeah, this is not happening today. I just don't have it in me. Not going to do it. But I would say if you're referring to something that is kind of scheduled, so because I'm Seventh-day Adventist, my Sabbath is on Saturday. And on my Sabbath, we fellowship with family, with friends, we go to church, we hang out with friends after church, or go out to lunch with friends. It's just very much a relaxing, restful day, per the Bible. And so for me, I kind of don't really think about lazy days much during the week because I am always looking forward to Sabbath. I've spoke about it many times on my channel, but for those of you that may not know, our Sabbath is from Friday night sundown to Saturday night sundown. So it's 24 hours where I don't clean my house, I don't do projects, I don't go grocery shopping or meal planning or like all of that stuff that clutters up our week, clutters up in a good way, but yet it's still working. And so for me, I get to look forward to the Sabbath knowing that I don't have to do any of that stuff, and I feel great about it. And so during the week, it's kind of more like a, push to the finish line, and how much can I get done, and let me see how quick I can mark off my list and that type of thing. And then when I go into the Sabbath, it's just like this sense of calm that just surrounds me, and it's the most amazing feeling ever, and I don't even have to schedule it because it's just a part of my life and automatically going to be in my week, and I love it. This question has quite a few parts. The first question in it is, what are your hobbies outside of keeping such a very beautiful home? I would say anything spent with my family. I just absolutely love being around family, and so it doesn't really matter what we're doing. I just love being with them. Second, I would say I love thrifting. For me, I think it's kind of just the thrill of the find and knowing that I'm not spending full price on something. I just absolutely love finding a good deal and finding things that not everybody else has. Like, I can go to Target and Walmart and wherever and buy everything that people show on Instagram and all of these things, but for me it's just having pieces in my home that are unique or considered vintage now, even though a lot of that stuff is things that I grew up with. So it's a little humbling, but I don't know, I love it, and Chloe loves doing it with me, so that's something that she and I can do together. I love to travel. It doesn't have to be somewhere extravagant or overseas or whatever. I just love seeing different places. So I would say those are probably the top few things that I would consider my hobbies. The next question is, have you always been so organized as a child, teenager? Yes. I have joked on here before that I was always the weirdo kid that was like cleaning up and organizing while the other kids were playing. It's just always been, I don't know, almost fascinating to me. And when I was little, so my mom worked full time while my sister and I were young. And so after school, we would always go over to our grandparents' house and then spend the days with them in the summertime. They lived in the same town, obviously. And so my grandma was very organized. I mean, you know, she would organize drawers once a month and meal plan and grocery shop and prep food and all these things. And so I grew up watching that and just becoming fascinating with the whole art of homemaking. And so for me, it has just been a part of my life since, I mean, I can remember. And so, yes, I have always been. Where did you meet your husband? Sam and I met in college in Lincoln, Nebraska. That, for a lot of you, already know, but some may not. That's where I was born and raised, and then he was born and raised in a much smaller town in western Nebraska. So when I came to college, he was already a junior. He's 2 years older than me, but I have known his brother since the 6th grade. So within the Seventh-day Adventist denomination, a lot of youth events and things take place within your different conferences. And what I mean with conferences, like your different regions. So for instance, a lot of the Seventh-day Adventist Kansas and Nebraska schools would always get together throughout the year and just do different youth events and things like that. And so his youngest brother is my age. We were in the same class, and so we would always get paired up according to age and grade and all of those things. However, it was not until college that I even realized that Sam existed, because since he is a couple years older than me, we were never paired up like that, and I never really saw his brother and him hanging out per se, because we were always kind of in our designated groups and whatnot. And so it was just kind of interesting to get there and be like, oh, there's another one. So that's how. What age were you when you got married? I was 20. Sam was 22. I actually turned 21 a month later, a little bit over a month. What all states have you lived in? So, like I said, I grew up in Nebraska. And then from there, we went to Orlando, Florida, and Asheville, North Carolina. I have to like think in my mind all these places. Kansas City, Georgia, Calhoun, Georgia, and then San Marcos, Texas, Denver, and now back here to Kansas City. Luckily, a lot of that was done before kids. So my kids were born in Calhoun, Georgia. Then we moved to Texas. Then we moved to Colorado, and now we're here. So they didn't have to go through all of that. But that's why I'm not a hoarder. Because I know what it takes to move all of that stuff. Where has been your favorite state to live in? I would say, so I'm sorry for anybody who's from Texas, but I did not favor that place. But I would say, honestly, everywhere that we've been, there has been something that we have loved, whether it's the scenery, whether it's just the friends that truly became family for us. And so, you know, I'm very much of the mindset that you find what you're looking for. And we always just tried to find the best in everything. And yes, I did try in Texas. And you do, you find what you're looking for. You find the great friends, you find, you know, the fellowship and whatever. Um, and we definitely did that in all of those places. Where would you like to retire? It's funny that you ask that because Chloe asks me this all the time, and my answer to her is always, I would love to be in a position at that time where we could just kind of be where our kids are. You know, I said before that family is so important to me, and I would love to be in a place where, you know, if they're not in the same area, that we could kind of go back and forth, not in their homes, but in our own. Just go back and forth between maybe a smaller house and spend time with one, and, you know, then go spend time with the other. Obviously, I hope grandbabies come about, even though after their time with Vacation Bible School a couple weeks ago, I've been told not to hold my breath, but that will pass. But yeah, right now in my life, I can honestly say I don't have a designated place that I would just love to be. So we'll see. Do you have any siblings? I do. I have a sister who is 4 years younger than me, and we have a little bit of a different relationship. When she was born, she, you know, at that time needed to be in the incubator, and so this was, you know, early 80s. And they put her in because she needed a little bit more oxygen when she delivered. And unfortunately, the medical staff that was watching over her put her in there and forgot to turn the incubator on. So my mom turned and looked and saw that her lips were blue, and unfortunately by that time it was too late. The damage was done. She is full functioning, you know, walks, talks, all that stuff. But from a mental standpoint, she is, let's see, how old am I? I just have to think back. She is 39, and probably has kind of the mental capacity of a 7 or 8 year old, 6 or 7 year old when it comes to like reading and school and stuff like that. However, she's able to stay home by herself for a few hours a day. You know, if my parents are running errands or whatever, she's able to feed herself and shower and get dressed and all of those things. So just, you know, one of those really unfortunate life events. So I always kind of took on the role of parent whenever we were, you know, outside of the home and with friends and things like that. So our dynamic is a little bit different. However, I feel fortunate that we do have her because it has, well, obviously, but it has allowed my kids to see a different side of life. They are more tolerant of differences. They are more tolerant of just a lot of things in general, more patient. And so for that, I am extremely fortunate and blessed. The next question is, you look like you've got in great shape this summer. What is your diet and exercise plan currently? So I will first and foremost just be 100% honest and say I do a horrible job at exercising. I enjoy it when I'm there. However, it is the getting there part that is hard for me because there's always something else that needs to be done in my mind. There's always laundry, there's always a to-do list, there's always, you know, driving kids wherever and getting kids ready for school and things like that. Granted, my kids are older now, but still, it's, you know, getting them up out of bed, the whole thing, you guys get it. And so that has always been a challenge for me. However, just a few weeks ago, I joined my friend over at Orange Theory, and I started doing that, and I really enjoy it. It's 1 hour. I get there at 6:15 in the morning. I'm out by 7:15. It's an hour of them telling me what to do. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to, plan what my next move is. I literally just follow along, and it's one thing that I don't have to figure out and don't have to plan and all of that, and I can just take orders and call it a day. And it's fun. The music is loud, and there's other people around you, and you've got this board that shows kind of how you're doing and whatever. And because I'm extremely competitive, for me that is very motivating. And so I am really excited to kind of continue that. Obviously, when school starts, I won't go that early in the morning. I'll go after the kids get out of, or after I take them to school, rather. So it'll look a little bit different. But as far as my diet, we decided to go vegan on January 3rd. We didn't decide on January 3rd. That had kind of been the plan for a little while prior to that. Chloe has a very high sensitivity to dairy and a medium sensitivity to gluten. And so it got to the point where she was having stomach aches literally every day, all day. And so I just said, I think that we need to try this and see how it goes. But if we're going to do it, we're all going to do it. It's just so hard when you have different things for different people, and it just becomes a lot. So it was something that we all decided to do together. Christian was starting to get quite a significant amount of acne, and so I wanted to see if that would kind of help that as well. And within a week, Christian's acne was cleared up. Within a week, Chloe's stomach aches were 100% gone, and we've never looked back. It has been great for our family. We didn't ever do it for weight loss. It was very much just from kind of the health standpoint of things that I just mentioned. But I will say that some weight loss did come with that, but that was never intentional. Outside of that, I just really watch what I eat. I love sugar. That is my go-to if I'm stressed and whatever. So I really have to be intentional about that, or that can just be, a train off the rails if I allow it to. Do you get the kids involved with routine house maintenance, cleaning and such? And if so, at what age did you start implementing specific tasks? Mine are 2, 6, and 7, and it's still hard to get them to participate. Do you enjoy being a stay-at-home mom, or do you work remotely? How do you maintain your sanity with all the responsibilities that come with being a homemaker? Yes, my kids have jobs that they do. I will say, honestly, their jobs in the summer look a little bit different than their jobs during the school year. They still have things that they, have to keep track of during the school year and just stay on top of. But because of sports and homework and things like that, honestly, there's just not always enough time to do all of the things that they do during the summer. I started them young because you can do things young. You can pick up your crayons and your markers and your Play-Doh and all of those things and put them in a drawer or a cupboard, wherever the designated place is. You can walk your dishes over to the sink. Once you get a little bit taller with a stool, you can rinse off your dishes. And I think if you instill those things early on, it's much easier to kind of form that habit. And look, I'm not saying that it's going to be great. I mean, I still, to this day, my kids are 13 and just turned 16, and it's still a struggle, you know, sometimes being like, hey, how come the dishes are in the sink and yet the dishwasher is right here? And so it's just always a teaching, and that's okay, because that's what our job is. You know, I'm still being taught things. I'm still I still haven't learned certain things that I probably should have by now, and so it's okay to just remind and do things, you know, in a loving way, so that they do get it and you don't just become a really naggy recording. You know, they started pulling up their beds when they were little, just different things like that, you know, just age appropriate tasks. And as they get older, the jobs get a little bit harder and a little bit different. Do you enjoy being a stay-at-home mom? I absolutely love it. I truly believe that that is what God created me to do, is to be a homemaker, and it's something that I've always wanted to do. I worked outside of the home before I had my kids. I worked in the hospital, and we always just kind of knew that once babies came into the picture, that I was going to be the one home with them. We have never lived in a place where family was in town until now, coming back to Kansas City and, you know, having my parents move here. But when the kids were little, we never had any family in any place that we were, and so there was never that, you know, comfort of a babysitter that we fully knew. And, you know, we would go on care.com and find people that way, and got really blessed with some great sitters, but the goal was always that it would be me with the kids. And then, you know, we homeschooled while we were in Texas, and so there was that. But I do. It is definitely the desire of my heart. And how I maintain my sanity, Jesus and coffee, and a great planner. You know, I am very routined, I'm very regimented, I am very structured, and so for me, some of those things just kind of come naturally. But in all honesty, you can train your mind to do so much more than what we realize. And if you just put boundaries in place, put schedules in place, and routines that work for you, not routines that work for other people on YouTube or other people on Instagram, but routines that work for you and your family, and it's easy. Routines should never be hard and challenging and, you know, 10 different steps to reach one goal. It should be something that creates peace and not chaos. So that's what I would suggest if you are searching for a little bit of sanity in your day. What systems, books, resources, apps do you use to manage your home? Cleaning, meal planning, budgeting, school planning, etc. Like I just mentioned, I am fully attached and in love with my planner. It's not one that, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say it's not one that I buy, but I do. I buy the inserts. And so I just kind of piece it together to work for me. However, there are many great planners out there. Some simple, some not as simple. For me, I need the simple. I think all of these pictures on Instagram are so pretty with, like, you know, the different colors and the stickers and all the things. But honestly, for me, that just wreaks havoc on my mind. It's too much for me. I'm a very visual person, and so for me, that just provides all kinds of brain clutter and kind of causes me to lose track of what the actual goal is, and that's my dishes and not the mural on my page. And so for me, it's very streamlined, very simple, you know, pen, paper, and that's it. I do color coordinate my family, so in my planner and on our calendars on the wall, we all have a color so that I can just glance at that and know who it is and what they're doing and where they're supposed to be. As far as books, I don't read near as much as I would like to. I love podcasts. I love like books on, I was going to say books on tape. That's how old I am. Audible. But again, I only get that when I'm kind of driving around and not thinking about other stuff. But lately I feel myself trying to make phone calls and things while I'm driving to get, you know, doctor's appointments and school physicals and things like that scheduled. But I have a ton of videos coming out after this one and after my pantry reveal that are just full of back to school routines, how I do it. And so I think that you will find a lot of benefit in those, how I meal plan during the school, how we do kind of our own hot lunch system because I'm too cheap to want to pay for a hot lunch. And I don't always feel like it's the healthiest option. You know, for some people it is fantastic and it works for them, but because we're vegan, that it just doesn't quite work for us, and so we put our own system in place. So I have all of these videos coming. I haven't done them yet because this year's a little bit different for us. We don't start school until the 1st and 2nd of September because our school is building a new school, and it won't be done when we normally go back to school. So after this video pops out today, and then tomorrow I will be doing the pantry reveal. After that, it is full force, guns a-blazing, back to school videos. So I think that you'll really get some benefit from that. You guys have been so amazing at your question asking, and you actually asked me more questions than what I have B-roll for in this video. And so I'm going to have to move the other questions that I did not get to into my pantry reveal that I will be dropping, probably not today because I'm actually cleaning out my holiday closet, but that will drop tomorrow. And I will answer the rest of your questions there because you guys have some really great questions still that I want to get to. I do want to say that I've mentioned it a little bit before, but I do have a lot of organizing videos coming up in the next few days that you know, we'll be talking about obviously the pantry and kind of what that looks like now that I've redone it, kind of my mindset around how I stock it, what I keep in stock, how I organize the different bins that I use, just different things that pertain to food storage from a pantry setting. I will do the refrigerator and all of that in another video that is also coming out. But for me, the next couple of weeks are just full force, let's get ready for school, let's get organized. So getting their things organized, and I'll show you how I back to school shop. I will show you how they organize their things during the year, how we meal plan, how I create a year-long meal plan. I know that's just terrifying to you, but you will see exactly what I mean, and it will totally change your world. So lots and lots of videos to look forward to, so make sure if you have not clicked on that subscribe button or that bell, go ahead and do that. That way you do not miss out on any of that. I don't have a set schedule. I just kind of post whenever I get them done, so that way you don't have to keep coming back and looking to see. Thank you so much for your questions that you asked. That was so fun. I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing what others were asking and just learning a little bit more about me. Next time, bring your friends and we can all hang out, but remember, the best way to get something done is to just simply begin. Now go after it and believe in yourself as much as I believe in you. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.